Hello everyone, welcome back to Health Check. Indeed, life gets better when you check. So today is World Suicide Prevention Day, and it's very important. You're here to discuss suicide prevention. Yeah. I'm here with a colleague. Dr. Richie will be seen in subsequent episodes. Shout out to Richie. So I'm here with a colleague, and she's going to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Eyram. I'm a medical doctor and a resident psychiatrist.
Okay, nice to have you, Eyram. So this might sound a bit cliche, but I want to find out, why psychiatry?
Psychiatry because it's a field that is seldom applied in medicine, in Ghana especially, even in the world. And looking at the emergence of the awareness of mental health issues and mental health talks, I felt like this is an opportunity for me to make a difference by joining the workforce and doing something about things that I'm passionate about. Yes.
Lovely. Sounds good.
Yes.
Actually, mental health is, like you said, it's trending since COVID.
Yes.
Lots of people are paying attention to the mental health. We've all realized that it takes a huge chunk of living a proper life.
Yeah, it does.
So, yeah, thanks for staying tuned if mental health means much to you. So today is World Suicide Prevention Day. So we are in Ghana, and what I would like to find out, in Ghana, right, do we have any national suicide prevention strategy?
National suicide prevention strategy, no.
Okay.
However, in the past few years, we made significant strides in preventing suicide. And one of the biggest wins we had this year was when suicide was decriminalized. That was in March 2023. So with that, and then also with the advocacy and then the education of the general public, the Mental Health Authority is dedicated to ensure that more people understand the import of knowing what mental health conditions are, and especially knowing about suicides and then how to prevent it. Yes.
Okay, so one thing I remember is you said it has been decriminalized.
Yes.
Why? How is it important? What is it going to do?
Yes, it's very important because before now, hitherto, people used to shy away from the fact that they had suicidal ideations, you know. So decriminalizing it allows the conversation to be open, allows people to come out and seek help, especially when they are having these suicidal ideations. Yes, so it goes a significant way in preventing suicide. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make sense if I attempted suicide and then I would have to be.
Yes, that's a lot of trauma already. Having attempted suicide, that should mean that you were in significant distress. Okay, so imagine if after being in significant distress and then you are also penalized and you are not given the necessary help, then at the end of the day, not much has been done for you.
So yeah, good to know. I found some really interesting, mind-blowing facts about suicide online, and even as a doctor, personally, I'm sure with a few of my other colleagues, in fact, a lot of them, we don't intentionally pay attention to suicide and everything about it, except those directly involved, like you are, right? So this is what I found, that 1 million people die by suicide every year.
Yes, 1 million die by suicide every year, and every 40 seconds somebody dies by suicide.
Wow.
Every 40 seconds, that's less than a minute.
This video is going to be longer than 40 seconds. It means a few people are going to attempt suicide.
Yes.
And it's projected to be about 1.5 million by 2020.
Yes, so and the number is increasing. The number is increasing in the world and even in Ghana. Okay. Because in Ghana, we had, in 2020, we had about 777 cases of attempted suicide. Okay. And then by 2021, it had risen to 920 cases. Right. Yes, and then just the first half of this year, that's 2023, about 549 people had attempted suicide. Wow. That's a huge number.
Wow. So it's actually projected to be 1.5 million by 2020, and that's even old info, still relevant. I also found out that when it comes to the gender distribution of suicides, right? Male to female ratio is about 3:1. So for every one female, there are 3 males that actually are successful with suicide.
Successful with suicide, yeah.
When it comes to the attempts, interestingly, it's the opposite.
It's the converse.
Yeah, so more females attempt suicide than males. And males eventually are successful.
Yes.
I want to find out why. Like why? This interesting fact. Why?
Yeah, I wish I knew. But however, when you look at the different composition between men and women, most of the time suicide in itself, or suicide attempt, most of the time or sometimes is a cry for help. In some mental health conditions, however, it means the person has probably hit rock bottom. Okay. So if the person is more definitive in their decision, then they will be successful. But then if it's a cry for help, or it's something that there are other reasons pointing towards the person committing suicide, then maybe they may not be successful. You know, but it's still a very dark place to get to, and it's better that you don't at all.
You don't, I was actually thinking that probably because the men are more bold, much bold, so they end up being successful.
And maybe they are creative.
So the few ones that attempt, they are successful as compared to the ladies. It takes a lot of them, you know. And then again, I found out that more people die from suicide than from murder and war.
Yes, understandably. I mean, in 2023, come on, wars. There are not that many wars that are going on in the world currently. But now, one of the most significant wars, the wars of the mind, like the war within yourself, like the internal war. So that is enough to actually cause someone to be significantly distressed enough to go over the edge. But then that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. This
is not good stuff, but it's good to know. And it's actually the 13th leading cause of death. Worldwide. I'm sure before that we have accidents and all sorts of medical conditions causing that. And suicide is the 13th. The 13th is actually a high position. Number. To be. Again, for every 20 attempts, one is successful. So for every 20 attempts of suicide, one person ends up dying, right?
Yes.
What can you say about this?
I mean, looking at the idea that about 40 people die, I mean, a person dies every 40 seconds. Then you can imagine how many attempts are actually going on. How many people are actually attempting suicide? That's why the discussion needs to be open, and people need to talk about it. People need to educate the public about it. Know that it's a reality and it needs to be dealt with.
Right. If you didn't hear it, I'm going to say it again. I said for every 20 attempts, right, one is successful, and that's like one every 3 seconds. So one attempted suicide every 3 seconds. So every 3 seconds in this video, someone is actually attempting a suicide. So I also read that more people kill themselves than die in all wars, terrorist acts, and interpersonal violence combined.
All together. That's crazy.
Why is it so? Why do we have people killing themselves compared to in wars and all that?
Like I would say, especially since COVID, looking at the emergence of the awareness, you know, previously maybe it was happening, but people did not know about it. But now there's more awareness, you know, and then there's more isolation. People are living by themselves. The family system is people are living more isolated. People are more individualistic. So when someone is going through all of these things, it doesn't come out and people don't know about it. So at the end of the day, for someone to get into the significant distress that causes them to commit suicide, it's laudable, it's understandable that they will get there.
Wow. Okay, so we're talking about suicide, right? I want to find out what would lead someone, first of all, to have a suicidal thought, then graduate, right, to an attempted suicide and probably be successful. What would allow someone to progress through this whole series? Okay,
so the number one cause of suicide is actually mental disorders. It's mental disorders, and then there's also depression and then alcoholism. You know? So significant depression and alcoholism mental health disorders can cause someone to commit suicide.
Okay.
And then also when people have personal crises, life crises and life stresses, and they are unable to cope, when they don't have adequate coping skills or adequate coping mechanisms, then it
you're going to tell us some coping mechanisms, right? We'll come to that. I'm sure viewers would like to know what are the adequate coping skills to have. Okay.
And then also constant isolation, when there's constant isolation and then constant prejudice, discrimination, when people do not feel like they are well understood, especially people who are prone to mental health conditions or people who are suffering from mental health conditions. Yes. It can drive them to the lowest point where they can actually commit suicide. And then physical, emotional and sexual abuse is one of the causes of suicide.
Right. Let's pay attention to these important risk factors. So I just want to find out, give the scenario, okay? Can you give an example of what would cause someone, just a practical example, someone who doesn't have a mental disorder, to go through the whole process and then eventually attempt a suicide?
Okay, so there are significant stresses in people's lives that most other people may not be privy to, especially because of our individualistic way of living, you know, and there are lots of battles that are fought in the mind. So I did mention life crises and stress. So when people are significantly distressed, it can actually cause them to think that probably ending their lives would be better. You know, so it takes some significant distress to get to that point, and that's the reason why we should have more advocacy, and we should talk about it, and we should figure out ways to deal with some of these stresses so that people do not get distressed enough to commit suicide.
All right, so would go deep into that. So assuming someone can't cope, right, what else would trigger or push them from a suicidal thought into an attempted suicide?
Usually when the suicidal thought comes and it continues without adequate help, when it continues and whatever stressor is causing it is still there, you might move from an ideation to attempt. And there are some warning signs actually for people who commit suicide, you know. So when there are people who start talking about like ending their lives, and they start talking about feeling worthless and hopeless, people start talking about death, some people start putting their things in order, you know. When they feel significantly isolated, they start withdrawing from their family members and all of that. For somebody that is undergoing significant distress, it's a warning sign, and it's something means that the person should be checked up on.
Wow. Good to know. I just want you to paraphrase what you just said. Okay, so I'm going to ask it in a more practical way. Assuming you're in a household, what are the signs to look out for in a family member who is likely going through suicidal thoughts? And same scenario for in a workplace, having a colleague. What are the signs to look out for in a colleague? And then, any other scenario, what are the things, the telltale signs to have when someone is going through that?
Okay, so when you live with your family members and you have a family member that is going through it, you know, having significant stress from all angles, maybe from life, from work, and all other things, and when they are unable to talk about it, so they don't have enough support, or they feel like they don't have enough support, and they start talking about death, start talking about or writing about death, writing about maybe the world would have been better if I was not around. When they start having such thoughts, then you should start doing something about it. And even people at the workplace, and also when these people start to withdraw, they start to isolate themselves, they start to have a significant guilt, you know, about the way things are going, and self-reproach. They start feeling as if probably they are the cause of all the misunderstandings and cause of all the bad happenings that are around them, you know. This means that this is someone that needs to talk to someone, you know. You should try to reach out to the person, especially if they start to isolate that's when you should start to reach out to the person.
Isolation. Okay. Okay, Dr. Eyram. So as a resident in Ghana, right?
Yeah.
How often do you encounter such cases? People with suicidal thoughts and then attempted suicide.
Okay. With suicidal thoughts, we have quite a number. I mean, people who are suffering from severe depression, bipolar depression, they may present with suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideations. Okay, so it's one of we do like a quick screening to figure out, okay, are you having suicidal thoughts? Okay, and then also thoughts of hopelessness, worthlessness. Yeah, so we screen all of that as well. Suicidal attempts usually. Most of the time they end up in the medical emergency. Okay. Yes, so they usually end up in the medical emergency. They don't necessarily come to the psychiatric hospital. But once they are better and it's known that they are suffering from significant distress, and they do come for follow-up at the psychiatric hospital. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So now looking at this really worrying issue you're talking about, I want to find out, can you advise us what can we do at the grassroots level, before it escalates all the way to an attempted suicide and coming to the hospital, to prevent, to kind of, curb this issue? What can we do to stop it at suicidal thoughts? To help someone who's having a suicidal thought, what are the right ways to say? Because it can be tricky. You can rather push the person further to commit a suicide. So from your experience, what do you think we can do to make it work?
Okay, first of all, I think understanding that mental health issues or mental health disorders can happen to anyone, and everyone. Almost everybody has a family member who is suffering from a mental health disorder or has come across someone who is suffering from a mental health disorder. So that understanding that it's as common, is more common than we think. Is a good step in the right direction. Okay. So once we do that, and then we enforce maybe the family supports more. We talk to people. We are better friends, better people all around. You're kind to someone because you don't know what somebody is going through. And then when the person starts showing significant distress, or the person starts showing signs of when the person starts showing signs of significant distress, then you can it doesn't take much to refer someone to come to a psychiatric facility. We are always there, available 24/7 to help people out, and to talk to somebody. So you can start by seeing a psychiatrist, you see a clinical psychologist, and then you're able to talk through whatever it is that you're going through. But if we are able to remove the stigma from the mental health condition, then we can make significant strides towards curbing the suicidal attempts. It's a drop in the water, but then it's possible.
Okay, but still to this issue, right? What should someone say to a friend who is having suicidal thoughts?
You need to see someone.
So assuming I'm a friend to this person, right? And then he or she lets me know that he or she is having suicidal thoughts. What are the right things to say? How do you approach something like that in order to really help the person?
It's case by case. Depending on how close you are to this person. And if the person has confided in you, that's a great step. It means the person probably trusts you. So you could start by saying, what do you need? Like, how can I help you come through this? As a lay person, as somebody who is not professional or someone who's not in the field, but eventually sort of talking them through and telling them to eventually end up in the psychiatric facility or to be seen by a professional is a way to go.
Isn't it very alarming and very discouraging to be told that you have to go to the psychiatric hospital? There's a stigma around.
Yes, there is. So we are hoping as time goes on, and there are clinical psychologists around. One good thing is that with the Mental Health Act of 2012, we decentralized mental health services from the major psychiatric facilities to every hospital.
Nice.
So now every hospital should have a psychiatry department. Yes, so you don't necessarily have to come all the way to the psychiatric hospitals in Ghana, but then if you visit any hospital at all, you can see someone who can at least point you in the right direction. Okay. Yeah.
And doctors are supposed to have a basic training, right?
Yes, yes,
like
yes.
General practitioners should have a basic training.
Doctors, nurses, all healthcare workers should have a basic understanding or have basic training in mental health.
So they can help you. Yes. Right. All right. How can we use social media? Okay. Yeah. In the digital world, how can we use social media to help prevent suicide?
Talking about it. Talking about it.
Okay.
Talking about suicide, talking about mental health disorders, creating an awareness, making people understand that they are not alone in what they are experiencing.
Right.
So once you're able to create a community around people and they feel less alone, you know, then people are able to speak up and speak out and then get the necessary help. Okay. So because we are in a digital age, social media plays a significant role. Yes, so once we are able to get more people to talk about it and to share their experiences with the right help and with the right tools, more and more people can get help. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So let's all use social media to raise awareness concerning
raise awareness.
And suicide prevention. All right, so this is a brief discussion of suicide prevention, okay? And I'm going to let Dr. Eyram tell us her last words. And then you can interact with us on the comment section. Let us know what you think, let us know what you learned, and let us know some of the issues so we can address them. Dr. Eyram, what are you telling us?
Okay, so this World Suicide Prevention Day, we want to unite under the banner of creating hope through action. So creating hope through action. We want to forge a compassionate and proactive way to curb suicide, and especially in Ghana. And then we want to make people understand that you are not alone, and then there are professionals to help you. So there's a toll-free number. You can always get somebody to talk to when you need help.
Great.
So that's
great. I'll drop it there.
Yeah, 0800 678 678.
Okay.
0800 678 678.
You can call it, and who do you talk to?
You will talk to mental health professionals. Somebody can help you.
Nice. And confidentiality is assured, isn't
Definitely.
it? Good. So don't be discouraged. Just go ahead and call that line for the needed support. Okay, it's been good having you. It's been great having you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we talked about World Suicide Prevention, and hope you picked a lot of things to share among people, and then share the link to this video, and hope to see you again on another thing mental health related.
Sure.
All right. Catch you in the next episode.